Abbie and Jules.
Yes.
Silent coyote. Silent coyote. Cheers are up, but it's not split. We wrote this whole long speech about Jules, and we try to get as much stuff in here as possible.
Yes.
And candidly, there's like a lot of shit to get in here. There's two additional things I want to say that weren't in here that I just think you all should know. One, Jules has really great hair.
Yes, and I hate him for that.
Thank you.
Just saying.
And two, in 2005, Jules sent me a case of handles of Bombay Sapphire gin to my place of work.
Me too.
And it was 12 in the box, and I lugged that thing home on the N Judah line.
Who wants to be there? I'm just going to stand right
Of the San Francisco public transportation system. I still have 9 of those 12. So if anyone wants one, I'm totally down.
How many times have we moved it?
And I've moved it 4 times. I continue to move handles of gin. I don't drink gin. It's like my parents grew up in the Depression. When we sat down to think about everything we felt you all should know about Jules, as responsible participants in this celebration, honestly it was pretty hard for us. You see, ordinarily we'd employ a thematic device as a vehicle for this particular brand of domination. Some sort of catchy premise as an organizing function, but with Jules, there's just so much material. And quite frankly, we don't feel the need. So we're not going to claim we found a copy of Jules' diary, although we're 97% sure he keeps one. And we're 94% sure there's a picture of Marky Mark and an early iteration of boxer briefs on the outside. We're not going to claim we found a point-counterpoint written by Jules and his bride-to-be debating the merits of their impending nuptials entitled, "Dear Abbie, I can't wait to marry you," and "Dear Jules, do you smell that? Is somebody chopping onions in here?" And we're not going to claim we found a copy of an ad he took out in the personal section of the newspaper years before his singular and isolated success with a woman of Abbie's caliber. Instead, we're just going to tell it to you straight. Straight from the fingertips of one Julian Stone Kessler, who for years constructed a morning email of news, weather, and occasionally Jules relentlessly sent this message of mass distraction to his family, his friends, his acquaintances, people he didn't really know in high school, and anyone careless enough to leave their email address in the public domain.
In the dawn of the internet, one young cyber warrior prince unsheathed from his waist a social networking tool so visionary that it was spam before anyone in Nigeria had ever heard the word. It was e-commerce before Hanover ever started delivering. It was Friendster before the rise of MySpace. It was MySpace before the rise of Facebook. It was Facebook before the rise of the machines that ultimately use social media to conquer the human race. It was, and it still is, the generic good morning message, or GGMM. What follows is a series of actual, our favorite GGMM emails.
Oh, goodness.
Message number 1. This is the generic good morning message for June 13th, 1987. Clearly not a real message.
Literally. He's not.
Yesterday, President Tiger stood on the steps of the Brandenburg Gate and declared, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." It was a triumphant oratory for all the free world. And in other news, my own blood is coursing with the thrill of victory. There I was, 15 feet from the hoop. My shoulders slouching under the weight of this awe-inspiring accomplishment. I had made 5 of the last 9 shots.
Oh my God.
And when the crisp swish of the net bellowed out like the morning foghorn on Lake Champlain, I knew that I, Julian Stone Kessler, was Vermont State Free Throw Champion. I am now the greatest free throw shooter for this year amongst all 23 eligible 9 to 10-year-old boys. Triumphantly, I take my place amongst a long line of champions from Howard Dean all the way back to Ethan Allen, who led the Green Mountain Boys to victory over the Redcoats at Fort Ticonderoga. I need to get a trophy made because no one is ever going to believe me.
It's still in my house.
Fair. I don't believe him.
This is the generic good morning message for July 24th, 1992. If God were to create a Roman bath of roll-neck sweaters, mediocre poetry, and steamy hot, uncorrupted flesh, he would have called it the New England Young Writers Conference campus. And his human vessel would have been Benjamin Rifkin of Green Bay. I'm going to college wherever that guy goes. And based on my assessment of his behavior this past week, if he expects to get into Dartmouth College, he must also know Dean Carl Furstenberg. That's a little inside.
Jules knew the Dean of Admissions. Not that inside.
It helps.
This is the generic good morning message for September 20th, 1990 sales. Yesterday I was walking across the green on the way to the gym when something miraculous happened. The sky was dark and threatening, and a tempest appeared imminent. But as I approached the point where every path converged in the center in geometric resplendence, a ray of brilliant sunlight pierced through the clouds and illuminated the front steps of Dartmouth Hall. There on the hill, basking in the magnificent light, were 2 young gentlemen. One's name was Will Coyne, and the other's name was Lucas Cron.
Weird word. You wrote that, it's forethought.
I knew immediately they would be friends. They and their friends were all so well dressed and of such
pleasant temperament.
As I walked towards them, I thought about how amazing it was going to be best friends for the next 15 years. When I was 10 feet away, I raised my head and made eye contact with Will. Our eyes met. Will held the stare. His first words to me were, "Have you seen Patrick Surface? I'm supposed to be meeting him here." This is the generic good morning message, April 8th, 1999, delivered April 7th at 11:45 p.m. As the timestamp of this email indicates, tonight was another early Saturday night for Jules Kessler. Ho, ho. I attended the Kappa Kappa Gamble Spring Formal as the safe option for Liz Martin. What can I say? The chicken cordon bleu was delicious. DJ Rockin' Lou was spectacular, per usual. And I could even tolerate Ryan Samuels necking on the bus ride home. So ambiguous. Maybe he's necking Jules.
But what really gores my ox is that I'm tired of being the friend option. How many times do I have to tell these women, I have enough friends? I'm I'm really friendly. I mean, I'm a member of the Sub Club. I go to all the Airs performances and usually get invited to their after parties. And I know a bunch of dudes at AD. The problem is that definitely no girls like me.
This is the generic good morning message for July 24th, 1999. This morning's GGMM is sponsored by the good people of Subway, specifically Pete, his wife, and their team of sandwich artists.
I forgot about Pete.
I've made the decision to take up residence at a group house on Courier Place in the south side of Hanover.
Oh, man.
My decision-making criteria in ascending order of importance were: number 4, the opportunity to build enduring friendships with 7 other great individuals.
Yeah, here.
Number 3, the allotted space between my mattress and the ceiling. I require between 18 and 24 inches for maximum effectiveness.
We gave him 18.
Number 2, a signed affidavit from Yaga Blitz memorializing his belated transition from hardcore rap to approachable classic rock. Parentheses, concurrent with this transition from CDs to mini-discs.
Mini-disc really took off.
Left on repeat for days and days and days.
And most important, proximity to Subway sandwiches. Nothing can compare to the undulating dance of my taste buds upon first contact with grade D, institutionally served meatballs, hugged passionately by 12 inches of Asiago cheese bread, and waiting to be smothered by a handful of delicious raw white onions. Or perhaps on a hot summer day, a fabulous cold-cut trio, drizzled with oil and vinegar, and inundated with a two-fisted deluge of raw white onions. Or if you're really trying to slim down, take Jared's advice and enjoy a tummy-tucking 230-calorie veggie delight, pummeled into submission by an invincible army of raw white onions. I'm serious. I want those onions to surround, overrun, and ultimately defeat all other flavors of that sandwich.
Oh, God.
Because when I grip a delicious 12-inch sub in my hand, I'm overcome by a primal urge to mouth attack. Mind you, I'm aware of the sandwich's desire to live. But my desperate longing must be sated. I bore my mandible into its fleshy underbelly in frequent and intense bursts, while shaking the sandwich with the intention of a rabid canine. Inevitably, the sandwich relents. No Yates, whatever.
This is the generic good morning message for February 10th, 2004. Valentine's Day looms large, like an anchor dragging my dateless soul downward, past the sea mounts into the abyss that is fruitless online dating. Apparently one has to be Jewish to get anywhere with these women. I read an article the other day in Harper's Bazaar saying that over 40% of single women are now doing online dating. So let me walk you through those numbers. If there are 300 million people in America, and 150 million of them are women, and 50% of those are single women, and 40% of those are online dating, that means that assuming a moderately successful hit rate of 1%, I should be dating 300,000 women. Even if I'm speed dating, where as a general rule, women find that they have 3 minutes to talk for every 1 minute that I have to talk. It would take me 2 years to date all of these women. I've had 2 dates in the last 6 months. I ask you, where is the button on my calculator for no girls like me?
They love him.
Why are you all... That's fucking funny. That's genius.
This is the generic good morning message from March 10th, 2005. Boy, did I take a hit at Malatesta last night. I was reluctant to even go out because we all know how economically unjust group dinners can be. I had a Segundi, but no preemie and only one Peroni. And I clearly articulated to the table that I wasn't going to eat any of the shared antipasti, even though everyone knows I adore cured Italian meats and pickled vegetables. But it's best to be prudent, and I didn't want that last tantalizing morsel of prosciutto to qualify me as a participant in the appetizer. Apparently, my dinner maids didn't share my prudence. They ordered food and drink like it was the last night of Semana Santa. Then the bill came. It was $400 for the 5 of us. My Segundi and single Peroni plus sales tax and 50% gratuity came to $41 even. However, when I suggested that we each add up every individual item we ordered, and then multiply that total by 1.085, and then multiply that number by 1.15, and then individually pay that idiosyncratic amount, one of the communists at the table suggested that we just split it evenly.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's so
Holy crap!
I think
It made me want to slap him across the face with a soggy piece of mortadella. I really don't like group dinners. Fortunately, the day wasn't a total loss. I signed up for the Banana Republic charge card and will get 10% off my next purchase. And after dinner, I avoided the $2 on the subway, opting instead to walk the 5.9 miles home in a cold, hard rain.
Alright, we're getting closer. This is the generic good morning message for August 25th, 2006. Moonshine has no effect on me. Yes. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I'm from Vermont. And we get into some pretty rural stuff up there. So odds are, if it's something that's produced in a shed, or behind a lumber pile, or involves a second cousin, I've pretty much built up a tolerance to it. Things like homemade cider, hand-carved furniture, and moonshine, those are right in my wheelhouse. Take, for instance, the wedding I was at over the weekend. After a delightful summer salad and well before the main course, I had the pleasure of guzzling 3 shots of moonshine. And I'll be damned if I didn't call all of my friends over to the dance floor, take off my jacket, tie and shirt, and dump a pitcher of extra fizzy 7-Up on my own head. But that was not the moonshine. As I said before, moonshine has no effect on me. That was a combination of the altitude and the fact that getting it naked at weddings is my go-to. So seriously, if you're my friend, my acquaintance, or someone I didn't really know in high school, and you're throwing a wedding, it's probably not a good idea to do it near a brackish pond, as I will take my clothes off, swim in that pond, and alienate anyone who has had a vision of that night in their head since they were a little girl. Cheers for that!
sorry.
It all worked out!
I love the apologies that I got. We're all making good right now.
Keep it going.
Oh, I got all these messages playing, buddy.
All this is
Who's got proof over there?
This is a generic good morning message for October 1st, 2007. It's with great sadness that I announce my retirement from sending out the generic good morning message. Apparently, the realities of changing media paradigm are too much for management to bear. Subscribership is down, ad revenues have moved online, which doesn't make any sense. And payroll has become bloated, driven primarily by the dinosaurs and the features. But mainly, the reason is I will be starting a new job at Prevention Magazine, and I literally will not have an ounce of free time to spare. At Prevention, my time will be spent unearthing online explanations of all the medical calamities with which I am currently afflicted. And trolling the deepest bowels of the internet for the most exquisitely indiscriminate content with which to clog the inboxes of my closest confidants.
This is the generic good morning message for December 22nd, 2009. Like a moth to a flame, burned by a fire, I cannot stay away. I'm writing to tell all of you, my beloved family, my closest friends, my dearest acquaintances, my cherished people I didn't really know in high school, and anyone careless enough to leave their email address in the public domain, that I, Julian Stone Kessner, was wrong. At least one girl likes me. Her name is Abigail Conti, and she is incredible. Though my mom once admonished me never to associate with girls who work primarily at night, I think that Abbie is the one. She really gets me. She lifts me up when I'm down. She plucks the stray hairs off the tops of my shoulders.
That's so wrong.
I am so happy when I'm around her. I'm going to marry her on September the 25th, 2010. And I want all of you to be prepared. So please expect a constant, unrelenting barrage of semi-relevant logistical information. These emails will be generic,